Hi, my name is Silvia Nunes, and today we will talk about the different types of literacies that exist nowadays and how they can help us to express and make meaning of the world. The concept of literacy has evolved with the pass of time. New methods and meaning-making are being taken into consideration, supporting children and adults to understand the world. Multiliteracies may vary according to the context. Sometimes they overlap, or they are even interrelated. Each type of literacy provides us the tools to know how to act and respond to different spheres of our life, from health and civic participation to digital media and game literacy. It is crucial to develop diverse literacies in our life to better understand what is happening in our world. In the field of language learning, literacies play an important role. It is not only necessary for us to read and write in order to understand the components of a language, but also to know and try ways in which we can connect with others, sending and receiving clear messages. For example, by creating a website to provide information about saving money in the studied language, we are integrating different types of literacies, such as writing, reading, digital media, coding, and financial. But let's move to another concept. What will happen if instead of just one language, a person is becoming literate in two languages at the same time? Then we can say that the person will become biliterate. Most of the time, biliteracy has been applied in academic contexts of language learning, where students are assessed depending on their reading and writing proficiency. Also, students immersed in these kind of programs are able to find similitudes and differences between languages, and these ones can help them reinforce and explain how the languages are being formed. In my case, I became biliterate in Spanish and English while attending a private school in Mexico. I learned to read, write, and communicate effectively in both languages through a lot of practice and encounters with the two languages. My environment outside the school was almost all the time in Spanish, but fortunately, I also had contact with the English language with some relatives, friends, music, movies, etc. Also, I developed at school and home other kinds of literacies, such as digital media, health, civic, and ethics. Some of them were subjects at school, but others gave me the starting point to encourage myself to become a self-learner driven. Culture and interactions can become an essential component while learning different languages. As the concepts of literacy and biliteracy have evolved, other educators are proposing new ideas. The Pluriliteracies approach captures not only literacy continua with different interrelated axes, but also an emphasis on literacy practices in socio-cultural contexts, the hybridity of literacy practices afforded by new technologies, and the increasing interrelationship of semiotic systems. Pluriliteracies is a concept that arises in language learning. There are four key factors that it takes into consideration. The first one is a sociocultural factor, considering that interactions are essential to do literacy because they exchange ways of knowing the world and doing things. At the same time, it is flexible and open to being constant change. As Garcia et al. Mentioned in 2007, a fusion of languages, dialects, scripts, registers, and semiotic systems characterize how people communicate today, lowering barriers and borderlines among countries, creating a global connection. For instance, since I moved to Montreal, I have been experiencing a mixture of cultures, languages, registers, and semiotic systems every day. I am preserving my Mexican heritage at home with my family while studying in English and living in a community where French is the dominant language. I can see how many factors are around the acquisition of a new language and how this fusion embraces, remodels, and reshapes all the time. As we mentioned at the beginning of this video, literacies can help you make sense of the world around you. And as language is not only related to words and letters, I want to talk about other literacies that I've been integrating to my life in order to understand myself and the world around me. Since I was young, I enjoyed coloring and sketching, so it was not a surprise that when I finished high school, I did an undergrad in industrial design. I wanted to learn how to materialize ideas in order to support young children. So I began this journey by myself, but definitely it was in college where I boosted my creative potential. While studying and designing, I started to see life through different colors. Everything changed. I had many tools at my service that helped me to materialize my own creations. It was through practice and a lot of mistakes that I improved my skills by drawing, shaping, modeling, and creating. I discovered one of my passions. Design literacy gave me the tools to take risks, to admire beauty, and to create new things for others in the world. Another literacy that has been relevant in my life is Montessori. As it is not just a learning approach but a philosophy of life, it has a special place in my heart. I learned this literacy at Montessori school through reading books, lectures, but most of all by using the power of observation. Later on, it was through practice that I could really become proficient. Montessori taught me more about the development of young children, how to guide them in the process of discovering their own learning in order to reach their full potential. But in a personal way, it also changed me very deeply. I understood the importance of being congruent all the time, because what you do communicates a lot much more than the things you can say with words. It invited me to try my best to become a better person every day, inspiring others to make a difference in the world. Another way to do that was by working and connecting with your inner voice. That is why, during the last years, I have been integrating mindfulness into my world to develop the required skills to align my body, mind, and soul in order to live a peaceful and joyful life. This time, I learned to integrate several components of mindfulness into my life from courses, online apps, and some friends, but also with a lot of practice. Even though there are still many things to learn and the process could be very long, I have been connecting and controlling more my emotions and thoughts, focusing on the present moment and interacting with others through kindness, compassion, and love. After analyzing the different types of literacies that I have developed in my life, I conclude that most of them have been acquired to make connections with my environment, including nature, people, and things, in order to express my thoughts, discover my identity, and share it with other people to make sense of the world. Thank you very much for listening today, and we'll see you next time.